morning, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with Nina Warhurst and John Kay.
Very good morning to you. It's just coming up to 6:30. Returning to our main story now, the news that Donald Trump will appear in courts in New York today to face criminal charges.
His lawyers have already said he will be pleading not guilty. Let's speak to Joseph Moreno, who's a former federal prosecutor and FBI consultant, joining us now from Virginia in the United States. Good morning to you. Do you want to just tell us kind of what we can expect to happen today? Because obviously your system is very different and we've never seen a president in this situation before. So what can we expect?
Absolutely right, John. I mean, we are in completely uncharted territory here. For those who are expecting a big dramatic day, you'll probably be a little disappointed because most of this should happen behind closed doors. We expect that about 2:15 Eastern time, so about 12 hours from now, Donald Trump should pull up in his caravan to the district attorney's office in Lower Manhattan, which is co-located with the courthouse. He will exit the vehicle, he will go into the courthouse, and a combination of the FBI, the Secret Service, the New York Police Department, and the court officers will effectively usher him into the courthouse. He might get photographed, he might get fingerprinted, we're not sure about that, but ultimately he will stand before a judge. He will hear the indictment finally unsealed and read to him about what the charges are that he's facing. We've been guessing about that, but we'll know for sure tomorrow. And then finally, he'll enter a plea, and it most likely will be a plea of not guilty. And then that will be it. He will depart. And the news is that he will return to Florida, where apparently he'll give an address to the American people sometime tomorrow night. So it'll be a sort of a whirlwind of events. But again, most of it not in the camera's eye.
So we've heard already a lot about these allegations of a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, this porn star. But are you suggesting that inside that envelope with all the charges, the indictment, there could be a lot more and different charges as well?
I mean, it might be exactly the kinds of rumors or leaks that we've heard about these last few weeks, or it could be something completely different, and we've been basically thrown off the track. So I think we've had a lot of surmising because of who we think the grand jury has met with over the past few weeks, including Stormy Daniels, including Michael Cohen, and others involved in those transactions. But the reality is grand jury investigations are supposed to be secret. We're not supposed to know any of this information. And so what comes out in court later today, it might be very much what we think it is, or it might be very much a surprise.
Of course, people who don't like Donald Trump say it's about time, this case needs to happen. But there are other people, I know you've raised some concerns about the fact that this is happening in this way.
Well, a lot of people, I mean, I think have a perception of Donald Trump that he's kind of skated by, right? That he's done things in the past, and this is finally something catching up with him. And that's fine if you're a voter, because you can vote for a candidate however way you want, however you perceive them. But as an attorney, you have to deal with things like specific facts and laws and timelines when cases may be brought and burdens of proof. And so there are a number of different investigations against Donald Trump right now. But I would say of those out there, this is probably the least serious of them. It's rather old. It goes back to his pre-presidential times. There are serious concerns about whether it's being brought in a timely manner. And the prosecution theory, as we surmise it, seems to be a bit of a stretch. And so I think in the sort of universe of investigations that Donald Trump is facing, which include his impact on the January 6th riots, his possession of classified documents in his home in Florida, and his interfering with election results in the state of Georgia, I would say this matter in New York is probably the least of them.
It's interesting because I think over here, a lot of people assumed that if he was charged, that might finish him off. That might end his hopes of running for the White House next time. But the suggestion from America seems to be that, at least in terms of the Republican Party, this could make him even more likely to be the Republican candidate. Do you just want to explain that to us?
Well, I mean, it does seem politically that people are rallying behind him right now. There is a sense among his supporters that if these charges are what we think they might be, it seems like they're old and they could be seen as unfair. So there does seem to be a rallying of support behind Donald Trump to be the nominee. And in our system, believe it or not, even a person who has been charged with a crime, even a person who has been found guilty of a crime and maybe even gone to jail can still run for and be elected president. It's a bit of a strange system, but that's the system we have. And so in the short term, it does seem like it might be helping Donald Trump. In the longer term, it's yet to be seen whether the American people would really elect someone with the variety of problems he's currently facing.
Joseph Moreno, we appreciate your time talking to the BBC this morning. Thank you very much indeed. It's going to be a fascinating day, isn't it?
It will indeed.